reading portion of Power Up. Sup, my name is Maude Garrett, joined by Trisha Hirschberger. We have done playing. We have already done watching. It is time for reading. And Trisha and I shared what we were doing last week for the month of June. So you can check that episode out. But this particular episode, we have a guest. Guys, please welcome back. Her name is Wendy Lee Zaney, and she's telling us about what she is reading at the moment. How much are you reading now that we're in lockdown? Are you like reading more, would you say, Wens?
I thought I would be reading more, and I tried at the beginning, and apparently I have a very short attention span, and maybe just like reading words on on a book makes me tired because I always like end up napping, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? I have to do Audible. I can't do the reading. I don't know what happened. Same?
So, Wendy, let me ask you this, because I have the exact same problem. And I hypothesize that it's from growing up reading books before I went to bed as a kid. So I have like an association of like reading means it's time to power down and go to bed now. And I think that's carried with me into my life as an adult. Did you do that as a kid?
100%. I would read until I fell asleep. And so I guess now as an adult, I'm just kind of like, you don't even need like a sleep aid if you want. You just kind of like open, okay, good night.
Yeah.
Read two sentences and I'm done.
Puts you out. Yeah. It's like super, what is it? It's a like almost melatonin. I get it. Your body's wired. But also like I'm struggling to read. Like I have to get in the zone. Like I'll be reading the page, my mind wanders. I pick up my phone 3 times and I'm like, what are you doing? Like read. And then as soon as I kind of get a couple of pages in, I'm in that book and I can sit there for like a little while into that before I'm like, oh, that's right. I have a phone, which is so bad, which is why I really like Audible as well. But let's chat about the book that you have been reading lately. Suzanne Collins, obviously this is a part of the Hunger Games franchises, but this one is the prequel exploring snow, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us all about this.
Yeah, this is interesting. It is a prequel, and it's set prior to what we saw in Catniss. So Cornelius Snow is not President Snow yet. He was, like, I think just barely 18 or is 18, and he has basically been chosen to become a mentor for one of the tributes in the upcoming, and this is for the 10th Hunger Game. And Snow's name, his family name, still means something, kind of like, you recognize that name, you're like, oh, the Snow family. Cornelius Snow, but at the same time, his family has lost its wealth, and I think very few people know about it. So it's kind of one of the things that he keeps very hush-hush. And at the very beginning of this, when I first heard that they were coming out with a Hunger Games book, I was like, yes, another one. We're going to see, I don't know, another character, new story, whatever. And I was kind of bummed, honestly, when I first found out it was going to be about President Snow, because I hated him with good reason. He is a great villain.
But that's the thing, he's an antagonist. So to explore more about them, you're like, I don't want to know how he's brought up, which is an interesting point because we were just talking about Star Wars with watching, and Trisha, you were saying that you wanted to know more about the dark side. So this is kind of Hunger Games version of that. Now that you know more about Cornelius and he's 18 and it's young and it's kind of sort of like an origin story, did you like the character more, and did it make the Hunger Games better?
I'm not quite done yet. I'm still exploring, but it has kind of made me rethink my original thought of like, we don't need an origin story on why the villain is misunderstood. Like, I hate that so much when they try to go back. They're like, they were just misunderstood. And I was like, no, they're bad. They're bad people. Look how bad they were. They killed a bunch of people in the Hunger Games. Yeah. And it drives me bananas. But with him, you kind of, with the fact that his family isn't wealthy, the fact that he does struggle a little bit, and the fact that he is paired up with a tribute from District 12, and that's as far as like spoilers I'll go for you, is that it's kind of interesting to see how that kind of plays into his life so early before he meets Catniss Everdeen. So that's really interesting to kind of go back and forth, huh?
Who's also from District 12, right?
Yes. So there's a little bit of a parallel, and the Cornelius Snow that we know in this book is quite different, but you kind of see how he gets where he is. Like, they really lay it out for you, and the book became a lot more interesting once you got paired up with that tribute, and you start seeing all the parallels, and you started seeing probably why he falls into some of the decisions he makes and why he took such an interest in Katniss Everdeen.
Okay. And what was the state of, and if this is a spoiler, tell me to shut up, but what was the state of District 12 like then? I'm guessing that it got more sort of like, not degenerate, but you know what I mean? Like dilapidated and more worse off. And I have a feeling like there's a story with the evolution of District 12 or the devolution of District 12. Is that the case?
Yeah, they explore very little in it, and basically we jump into this is after the war and the rebellion has fallen, and the reason why the Hunger Games exists, it's to kind of like punish those who rebelled against like the Capitol and things like that. And they haven't gone too much where I am now into where the state of District 12 is, but I would say it's just a little bit slightly better than where we see Katniss's version of District 12 in the first Hunger Games book or movie. So I'm pretty sure once the Hunger Games took off, after this 10th one, it just progressively gets worse and worse and worse.
Now, yeah, right. Wendy, I want to probe a little bit into you saying you hate the misunderstood villain storyline prequel thing, because Maude's right. That is exactly what I said I wanted for Star Wars. For me, being someone who's a huge fan of like Game of Thrones-esque dark fantasy, I think that there is both heroic qualities and evil qualities in every person. If we're going to take it away from like the fantasy page and look at it, yep, there it is. Maude, we just saw Maude's. We just saw Maude's My Precious moment right there. R.I.P. Sir Ian Holm, you did it beautifully. I know. But I love seeing that. I don't know if you've ever heard in like an acting class or anything that everyone is the hero of their own story. And that's how you should approach acting, playing any kind of villain, is you are certainly the hero of your own story, and you have to believe that wholeheartedly to play that villain believably. So I always find it fascinating to see what the motivations are of these villains, to kind of take them out of that 2D, you're just a bad dude character or a bad lady character, and figure out what makes them tick. I think it's fascinating. But you said you hate hearing that.
Well, I'm kind of with Wendy on that one.
Huh?
I'm kind of with Wendy on that one, because I feel like, you know, a lot of the time if you're a bad person, it's because that's what you've learnt. Like you are being taught bad things, and so that's what you do. And that's why there is a cycle of abuse. And like, you know, to get the psychological side of it down, that's how it happens. You kind of behave because that's like, you behave badly because that's all you've seen and all you know. But I think that there gets a time when in your adult life where you actually get outside of that bubble and you learn more. And then that's when a choice arrives. And you have a choice to either become in that, like, to pursue that cycle of abuse and to kind of like, you know, well, I had it happen to me, therefore I get to do it to other people. And that's like their level of catharsis. But there's also a decision where you're like, look, I could do that and I could go down that bad path, but that is a choice that I don't want to make. And I want to learn that that is not who I am, and I want to be good. So I think I understand, and I'm teaming up with Wendy in the side where it's like, oh, they're just misunderstood. It's like, no, it is a choice at the end of the day. It is a choice to be bad, and you can have a life handed to you, and that's really, really tough, and it's more likely that it's going to be harder to not be good, but it's still a choice.
Well, yeah. And that's if the villain's story is, I've learned this thing because I've seen it over and over. But you can give a villain a very good story. I mean, I don't know if either of you are playing The Last of Us 2 right now. I'm not going to go into it, but I feel like in that they're doing so far a good job of showing us the motivations on both sides and why those things happen. And I think when we can start to open our minds and empathize with people that have different opinions and think different ways of getting there, that's what kind of helps us understand things like real world politics and stuff like that.
Both sides really think that they're right.
Right, exactly. But that's what I'm like, you know, fiction can help us, I think, start to figure out how to apply those lessons to the real world. I do think there definitely is some value in saying, you know, in a fictional universe, like, no, that person's bad, they just should have wisened up. But that's not reality. Reality gets ugly sometimes. So I like that being reflected in my fiction.
And you know what I'm taking away from this? These conversations happen when you read books. So everyone should be reading more books.
Pick up a book or grab an Audible.
Yeah.
I'm totally adding this to my Audible wish list, by the way. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah, you got it. You'll like it.
Is the narrator good?
Yeah. Yeah. I like it when they fully like kind of can invest in a character's voice, and they also play various genders really well. It's kind of like, it's not so much a caricature, it's just like the best they can do, and it doesn't take you out of the story. And this guy kind of does like a different kind of rhythm of speaking for a different character, which I love.
Oh, okay. That's really cool. All right, it's time to do a Bombs Away Q&A. So, Amy, you're coming in here with some questions from not only Geek Bombs Patreon, but you're also going to get one from the live Twitch chat to get those questions in. What's this question that you got for Wendy?
This one's from Jeff Lambert. Would you rather have superpowers for your whole life, but you forget about them each night and have to rediscover them each day, or have superpowers the same day each week, but you know about them?
I wouldn't. The first choice is a big no for me. I would not want to discover a new one every day. That would spend my entire day being freaked out and huddled in a corner and like shaking myself back and forth because I don't know what is happening to me. So I would pick the second choice. Can you say the second one again?
Mm-hmm. Have superpowers the same day each week and you know about them.
Magic Mondays, let's go.
Hey!
Like
every hump day is a superhero day. I put on my cape. I go about my business. It's great. Put it in my planner.
And then it's Thursday, and you're like, all right, listen here. You're going to be in real big trouble in 6 days, mister.
You come back here next Thursday. Yeah. I'll be here too, but not this me, the other me.
Yes, just another Magic Monday. Love it.
This next one is from STS2884. Who is the most tragic movie villain you can think of?
Most tragic? Oh, Gollum. I don't know if I want to call him a villain though.
Yes. Yeah, he is. I think so.
Debatable on the villain, but yeah, good answer.
That's a really good answer because it is heartbreaking.
Yeah. I cried.
He's obsessed that nothing else matters and his whole life's purpose is for this one thing. Oh, yeah. Kind of dangerous obsession is pretty tragic. What other ones?
Magic manipulation. At play there. Gollum is a good answer. Yeah, everyone in chat is like, Gollum's a good answer.
Oh. I remember him sinking into that lava and I was like, no.
But it was necessary to save Middle-earth.
He saved it.
Anakin Skywalker is a bit stupid in the sense where he turned to the dark side to save the one person he loved, but it killed her anyway. And you're like, idiot.
Yeah, someone said in Twitch chat earlier when we were talking about this, and I thought it was really good. They said, Nathan said, the best villains have good motivations, but the wrong methods.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a story that we hear a lot.
I've noticed a lot of the time villains have the greater good sort of mentality where it's like, oh, I have to wipe out half the population, but it's so that we can grow and be stronger. So it's like the greater good.
Oh, Thanos. Yeah, Thanos is a great one.
Yeah. So it's like he truly believes that what he's doing is good. But, I mean, it's the same time. It's like great storytelling is, do you allow thousands of people to die so that you can save the one person that you love, or do you sacrifice that one person that you love so you can save thousands? And it's like, it's the connection that you have with the person who could die that really is the driving force behind things. Because when you think about it, to save one person, even if it's a son or a brother or a immediate family member or a loved one, but you let another 1,000 people die, you're no better off than Thanos.
Yeah. Theory F2104 says Severus Snape.
Fuck off, incel. No, I think, sorry, Severus Snape for me. I explored it in book club for Nerdist, and to break down that character where initially I wept like a baby when he was like, have you ever stopped loving him? No, always, all that kind of stuff. And when Harry called his son Albus Severus, I wept like a baby. But then we broke it down where it's like, again, his obsession was consuming. And his obsession was with Lily, a girl that he was in love with, who never loved him back, but he couldn't let it go. So he stayed at the school. He never remarried. He didn't marry. He didn't fall in love. He didn't leave that one emotion. And it's kind of incel based, where he was like, I wanted her. I didn't get her. James got her. Therefore, I destroyed James, and I hate him. And I hate Harry because he reminds me of James. And it's like, nah, sweets, you got to move on. You've got to leave your past in the past, and you have to get on with your life. And he didn't.
Snape just needed a motivational talking to from you, Maude.
That was it.
That was Snape.
That was so good.
I've had a lot of time thinking about this.
I love it.
Thanks, great question though. Totally.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. So that was, we had our bombs away, our Geek Bomber question. We had our Twitch question. You guys are awesome. Amy, thank you. Amy, thank you so much for the questions. And Wendy, thank you so much for coming and telling us what you're playing and watching and reading. If you have time, we would love it if you could join us for Power Down.
Oh, I'm totally here to power down. That sounds like I've had so much fun. It's been, because of quarantine, it's been so long since I've just had like contact with people. And it's been forever since I've literally seen each and every single one of you. I think Amy I saw in February, and I know I saw Maude and Trish, beginning of March?
The Mulan premiere, beginning of March.
Yeah. And that was it.
I know. Hopefully it'll get better soon, but not a day before, and we'll have to wait for that one. There is a comment, though, that I think would be fun bringing up in Power Down, and that is from Adrios saying, "Same Maude, but when you look at his history, didn't he make friends with wizard Nazis and called her a wizard slur?" That is a really great point as well. This is not a good man, and we'll discuss some Harry Potter and some Star Wars in Power Down, and probably just a little, a fun little catch-up as well.
And Maude, can you just tell people what Power Down is, since it's relatively new thing and people might not have heard of it?
It is. I think we've only released 2 episodes of Power Down. It's kind of like the after show that we do. It's for $10 and higher backers on Geek Bomb's Patreon. It's supposed to be a 15-minute of all of us just chatting and shooting the shit, but excuse me. But it's sometimes it goes for a little bit longer, but it's the kind of stuff that we are talking about that we might not necessarily want published on YouTube forever. So it's a more personal conversation. We've previously spoken about politics, losing friends, me being crazy with an ex-boyfriend, all those fun things that might not necessarily fall under the Power umbrella, but it's also the questions that you guys asked that we didn't get to break down during the show. So that's what Power Down is for.
Perfect. So, folks, if you want to tune into that, Geek Bomb's socials are in chat. You can find everything there. Wendy, thank you for saying you'll join us for Power Down today. That'll be fun. Amy's there as always. So we are going to sign off for the Power Up portion of the show now. Thank you so much to everybody who was here. Let me see real quick. I know we had a bunch of stuff in chat, so thank you. Dun, 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 dun. Let me look real quick. That's why I got all messed up. Okay, Catnip Ninja gifted a sub to Sprinkles the Dragon Cat. That's where we left off, I think, and Miss Mev followed. Thank you. Exuvia gifted 5 subs on the channel. Thank you so very much, Exuvia, and welcome to the Dragon Riders, everybody. And SideQuest raided us. We got a raid. Thank you. I know that was 11 minutes ago, so we'll see if any of the SideQuest folks are still hanging out watching the show. If you are, thank you so much and welcome. Sorry we didn't do a verbal shout out earlier because we're recording this as a podcast too, so we have notifications turned off. But thank you and welcome. SideQuest is a channel that I got to guest on their show Second Breakfast with Sage. If anyone tuned into that, that is SideQuest. Go give them a follow. They're awesome human beings. And here I'll put out a SideQuest shout out in chat right now. Yay! Adriosa says SideQuest is rad. They literally brighten my day with their shenanigans. That's wonderful. Tharpy23 resubbed for a 2nd month. Thank you so much and welcome back. And Adriosa gave us a follow. So anyone who is here, thank you so very much for being here today. Thank you for watching Power Up. We are officially going to end the stream. And before we do, let me just see if I can find a great place to raid. We'll pay it forward from the side quest raid
Becca
today.
Scott is gaming. She's playing Magic the Gathering at the moment.
Who's on?
The Becca Scott.
Oh, Becca's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there she is. So we're going to go ahead and raid Becca, y'all. Let's do that now. If you don't know Becca Scott, she is a lovely human being. She does a lot of hosting for Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering, and that's what she is currently playing. So, especially if you're a Magic fan, go check it out and send her some love from all of us on the Power Up team.
Geek Bomb's got a Discord, and Trisha's got a Discord as well. The link to join Geek Bombs is in the chat too. Make sure you join Trisha's because we'll give you notifications of when we go live and cool show stuff too.
Okay, everybody tell Becca we said hello. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to everybody soon, okay? Bye, guys.
Bye.